Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and I've got a fun little group of Confederate banknotes to show to you today. And pretty excited to break down a few different things and just look at some history in our hands, which is always great. If you enjoy the content, consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and realize that if you watch our videos, YouTube doesn't really show them all to you unless you hit that notification bell. So other than that, you can check in daily because we put out videos pretty much daily, or you can go ahead and hit the notification bell. Now on to the rest of the show here. We've got some really cool 1864. This fancy script sometimes is hard to read. And some of my favorite banknotes, these Uniface $2 bills from the Confederacy. And just a lot of banknotes were printed in 1864. And this whole series of note had beautiful color with these like pink fiber paper on it, and blue backs on most of them. That $2 bill being the exception there. And just look at how they printed the pink portion. I guess maybe it was considered to be salmon or red or orange. If you're all colorblind, you can join me with your commentary about what color that is. And what's interesting, of course, about these, that these were all actually hand signed. So the ink will be a different color than the rest of the note. And that's one of the ways you can tell if something is a copy or counterfeit or not. Same thing with the serial numbers, which were also handwritten on there. So those won't be uniform, they'll all be individualistic. And also, the notes were printed in sheets and then cut, so you can see this is a hanging piece of the signature that, as they're signing sheets, would have gone off the bottom of the note onto the next note. And so that's something that you'll see on a lot of hand-signed notes. So this series is fun. They actually had a $1 bill, 2, you got the 10 with the horses on there, and you've got a cannon, extra points for anything with a cannon on it, of course. The horses pulling the cannons. We've got some fighting action in the background there. Once again, you got that similar background on the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and then there's even 100 on this series that we can look closer at. But the real fun stuff, of course, is I've got some earlier banknotes we're going to show you in just a minute once we get through these 1864 series. The 5, the 10, 20, here's the 50. And if you want to learn a lot more about these banknotes, there's a couple of good guides. Of course, the guy who was the OG on Confederate notes, his name was Grover Criswell. And so his system, his numbering system is still used when he says, type 47 and 48. When you look at Confederate notes, you see a T47 and T48. Well, that's exactly what they're showing you. And so they've got some cool charts at the beginning of this book also. Civil War currency in terms of gold, the value of U.S. paper money. It's pretty wild to see some of the old charts and stuff. But if you're really heavy duty, you get the newer book by Pierre Frick, who his book is just ginormous. It is like twice the thickness. It's actually about probably 4 or 5 times the size of the Criswell book. So after the 100, we're going to move on to some really rare notes you don't see very often. But there's the C note, of course, C for 100 from Richmond. Beautiful, beautiful note. Let's move on to some stuff you don't see every day. How about this? Ever think about George Washington being on Confederate currency? Really, really basic the way the designs were made on these guys. It's a $50 note. And T11, so this is one of the earlier notes. And it has a lot of heavier folds to it, some counter signatures on the back. And so it's kind of fun to see somebody actually had used this for their shopping list. They needed spinach, peanuts, radishes, and carrots. Ooh, and a ham. Oh, maybe it was Thanksgiving. Who knows? Or maybe people just ate ham back then. That's a possibility. So this one's really cool. This one's actually from 1861. And pretty neat to see the George Washington design. This also is a sub-variety with this overstamped letter on it. That is something that they mention in the book kind of as an oddity. So T31, T11 with the C printed on it. So some people speculate that that was a redenomination, but there's nothing written down that says that, though. So that a 50 would have been turned into 100, because a C note would be 100. So it's actually unknown why the C is on there. Here is another 50 from 1861. Now this was dated July. Now think about this. So this went from July to September, and you actually have a completely different design. And imagine if you are living in the South and you get these changes in currency just a few months apart. You know, that doesn't do anything to instill any type of confidence in your currency. This is the type of thing that you would have seen during hyperinflation in places like Germany, Weimar Germany. But there's the 50, of course. The Roman numeral for 50 is L. So that's where the L's on there. And like most currencies, a lot of times you'll have these different allegories here with these pictures. There's a train in the background, but oftentimes they would specifically refer to a part of your company, your country, such as commerce, you know, productivity. Here's a $100 bill from that same series. So you'll see that this series had an actual somewhat similar theme to it as far as, you know, the Confederate States of America location. You know, they'd made that uniform. And there's your L and your C with a denomination in the corner. And so the will pay, receivable payment in the upper left-hand corner. And then you've got the sailor here in the corner. And we've got some people loading up some hay bales, it looks like. Yep, bales of something. Let's say that was hay, but actually that could be tobacco. T17, T18, so those are back-to-back in the book. And then for here's a note that I've never owned, and so this one is the one I was most excited about. This banknote is from the September 2nd issue, which is the same issue as these guys. This is a T32, but it is a $5 bill. They made a little bit over 20,000 of these guys. This is a uniface bill. I get to show you the back of this guy. Really nice. This note's really nice. This $100 bill, very crispy. The back of that guy is interesting. You got a little bit of the ink worn through. There is some writing on here. Maybe it's someone else's grocery list. That was not my grocery list, by the way. But the T32, they only made 20,333 notes. And so it's a very, very scarce issue that you don't see very often. Like I said, I've never owned this note before in 25 years, so that's just how scarce it is. Got the super creepy little kid in the corner, which is fantastic. The V for 5, of course. The design is completely different than these notes as far as it doesn't have that same Confederate States logo. It's completely different. And then you have the steel worker in the corner here at the right-hand side, which is really cool. Nice detail. See the manufacturing and machining. He's got his all his tools, both big and small, for taking care of what he's got to take care of. Nice red V in the corner for 5. bonus points for cannons, but you always get bonus points for trains. And what's interesting about this train is just that cargo. It's a different type of train because you can see that this is just like for moving stuff around the steel factory, because it's not a full-size train. It's just a smaller locomotive with the guy sitting in the back and moving some type of cargo, which is kind of cool. Usually when you see trains, it'll be a full-size train that's transporting, people across country and stuff like that. So, more of a, oh, we didn't look at this guy yet. No, that one's actually a smaller train too. There you go. Just make me out to be a liar myself. September 2nd, 1861, same series, different series. This is a T-36 and a T-32. So these guys were produced, and these guys were produced, both in the same series. So once again, you think about just how weird it would have been to have multiple bills circulating at the same time that were, for you to use, but like you'd never seen them before. And then you get one of these, you're like, well, how do you know which one's real and which one's not? I mean, imagine the confusion that would have caused back in the day when, people couldn't just tweet about it. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoy that. Leave your comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.